foreign country, whether it's in India, China or Honolulu.
You cannot even shoot 3 idiots.
How did you dream?
स्टैंडिंग कमेटी ऑन डिफेंस के सदस्य बना दिया आपने।
Namaskar. Welcome to @NilC Undebated. Today we are discussing on INFODEMICS and impact of COVID on the media at large. Before we start the discussion, let me introduce the guest of tonight. They are from all across the globe. First, let me introduce Pratik Sinha.
Oh.
Hello, Pratik. Pratik Sinha is the co-founder of ALT.News, formerly a software engineer, and author of book India Misinformed: The True Story. But this is not enough. Pratik is playing an important role to give an alternative perspective for all misinformations, fake news, to unearth their truth. Last year, Google News Initiative had organized a master trainers program for editors and media professionals, along with data leads, Storyful, and ALT.News, for debunking the fake news by using different tools. I'm fortunate and privileged that I am also a part of this master trainer program. It's a group of 200 truth seekers, fact checkers, ninjas, crusaders who are working relentlessly 24/7 across the country for the sake of true journalism. Pratik is one of the ready help and mentor in this process. Pratik, thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you so much for having me here.
Today we have Syed Istiak Reza,
Hello.
popularly known as Reza Bhai.
Yes.
He is one of the most reputed and respected journalists in Bangladesh. Syed Istiak Reza is now working as editor-in-chief of satellite channel GTV and online portal Sarabangla.net. Previously, he was director news of Ekattor Television. Worked in the Financial Express, the Bangladesh Observer newspapers, and some other channels in different positions. Adjunct faculty in the Department of Film and Television, Dhaka University, and Journalism, Daffodil University. He is a regular columnist to national dailies and web portals. Namaskar, Reza bhai.
Adab. Good evening for everyone.
Today we have another guest from Budapest. She is Judit Klein.
Hello.
Hello, Judit. Dr. Judit Klein. She is from Hungary. She studied communications in Budapest, worked 7 years in the public service radio service in Hungary, and 12 years until 2011 as head of minority programs of the Hungarian Public Service Television. She finished her PhD in 2015 on function of minority programs on television in CEE. Thank you, Judith.
Thank you.
And also we have Babar Bhai, he popularly known as Babar Bhai. Mr. Majeed Babar Khan, Presently, he's in Prague, Czech Republic. Majeed Babar Khan is a senior journalist with international repute. He worked with several international media, including the New York Times. He covered many challenging assignments, including Taliban era, as well as war on terror, and reported from Tora Bora, eastern Afghanistan, when America was hunting Osama bin Laden. Here I want to share one important and interesting fact that Babar Bhai is the first journalist who actually broke the news that Osama bin Laden in Pakistan. For that, he had to leave Pakistan, and I met him in 2007 in New York. Babar Bhai.
Hello, everyone.
I want to share one more thing, that Judit and myself both are the IVLP alumni, and one of our alumnus, Mehmood Jan, is from Pakistan, and he introduced Babar Bhai, introduced me to Babar Bhai, and on the auspicious day of Eid, and Babar Bhai greeted us like an elder brother. He took us to every possible corner of New York Times, and we had a long deliberations on different subjects there with him and with his colleagues. And later part of the day, he took us to one of the well-known restaurant, which was owned by the son-in-law of former Pakistan Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif, and we had a sumptuous dinner together, and we had a great time together.
Thank you so much.
Babar Bhai and Judith. Actually, we are meeting each other after almost 13 years, with a gap of 13 years, that too in a virtual space, face to face.
Yeah.
So I am really grateful that our warm relationship is constant, and I got warm response from both of you. And today, actually, I am really express my gratitude to both of you. Thank you. Thanks for
inviting us.
And also, we have today one of the senior journalists from Pakistan. He is Naimat Khan Saab. Naimat Khan Saab, he is a Karachi-based senior journalist associated with Arab.News. He previously worked with the Frontier Post, Peshawar, the Friday Times, Lahore, Geo TV. He is a contributor in the Guardian UK, Modestobi, CA US. He is the former Joint Secretary of the Karachi Press Club and former Senior Vice President, Karachi Union of Journalists. Thank you, Naimat Saab, for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
One more guest to come. Actually, I think he is have problems of connections there. We have already have him. I want to add him also, Mr. Snehashis Shur. Mr. Snehashis Shur, popularly known as Snehashis Da in the media and academic circle in India. Snehashis Shur is a senior journalist working in Doordarshan News. He is a media educator and various universities and national level media institutions. He is an empaneled media trainer with Asia Pacific Broadcasting Union, Kuala Lumpur, and conducted training programs in different countries. Mr. Sur has covered several important assignments, including conflicts and crises in Jammu and Kashmir, northeastern states, and after other parts of the country. He has accompanied several prime ministers in their different foreign trips. He is the three-time president of Press Club Kolkata, one of the oldest organization of journalists in Asia and South Asia. He compiled and edited several books and received many awards for journalistic excellence. Thank you, Snehashis. Thank you, Snehashis, for joining us tonight. Dear friends, we all know what is the real situation nowadays we are facing. Fake news are everywhere. And media is playing a propagating role altogether. After the emergence of Corona, fake news is all everywhere. Out of 100, 90% news as propagated in the different media platforms are either fake or false or tainted or tailored. I will come to Pratik first. Before that, I want to share a bit of information with all of you. Actually, I don't want to defame anyone by posting this piece of information. A couple of days ago, it was viral. One of the senior most journalists of our country, he posted this to his Twitter handle. The news is that our former president, Honorable Pranab Mukherjee, died, and it was viral like anything. Some senior politicians they have started posting obituaries and condolences, and former president's son, he refuted it violently, and ultimately one of the senior most journalists has to apologize for that. It's actually the tip of the iceberg. Pratik, even in the health sector, what we have seen, that the corona-related news, right from Wuhan to vaccination and all, even in the health sector, if we consider the world data, that the mortality rate is around, when it started, it's around 0.8%, and now it's roaming around 0.5% or 0.1%. If you consider the Indian scenario, here also we are actually IMCR data. IMCR have done 2 sero surveys, and third sero survey report is going to they are going to publish it by this week. With this data, actually, what shows that the mortality rate in India is around 0.1%. Even if we consider the undisclosed deaths data, even then it will be around 0.2%. Why these panicky situation? Why all this thing is going on around? People are so panicky. They are actually confused. The situation really grim for the propaganda of media, but it's not actually as bad as it is propagated. Pratik, your take, please.
I'm not sure about the data about the mortality rate. That data sounds too less. 0.1 sounds too less to me. I think it is. I'll go back and check what the data is. but I mean, what we are facing is a very real issue. I mean, so there are a lot of comparisons being made with common flu, with TB, etc. But in this particular case, in case of COVID, number one, there is no vaccine. There is people are still dying every single day. Even just in the US, I think there are 1,000 deaths per day, even at this point in time. So yes, it is easy to say that car accidents may kill more, or certain other diseases may kill more, but it is not a direct comparison. It is not an apples to orange comparison. I mean, we can't do an apples to orange comparison. Here we know that there are people who have comorbidities and who go to the hospital. A lot of them are dying, and especially in a country like India, for example, or even let's say Pakistan or Bangladesh, whose health infrastructure is not the best. People are not even getting the required support, whether it is in form of ICU beds or ventilation, which is what is the most important. I mean, organ support is what is actually saving people in Western countries. And in countries like India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh, we don't even have that kind of support. So I think we are facing a very real issue. So I don't think we should underplay or downplay the seriousness of this issue. We are nowhere close to a solution. There is no vaccine which has been. Yes, Russia is talking about a vaccine, but Russia has not put out any information, any data at this point in time. So it is not something that can be trusted. But in general, there is hardly, there is no light at the end of the tunnel. So whatever fear people have, especially in developing countries, is very much justified. Of course, there is fear mongering too on the part of media, on the using misinformation, etc. But that is a separate issue. We cannot state. There's no way we can say that this is not an unprecedented situation where the entire world is going through quite a battle.
Pratik, the infodemics, what we are seeing everywhere, what is the procedures and tools, how to verify, and you are master of it. You can guide us in some regarding this.
There are multiple ways of verification. It depends on what is the source of misinformation, what is the type of misinformation. There are 4 different sort of types of misinformation. Misinformation propagated through video, misinformation propagated through images, misinformation propagated through sort of long text forwards, and misinformation propagated in form of articles. So in terms of videos and images, very often the case is that you use old images or old videos to represent something that is happening in present. For example, around February 1st week, a video was circulated claiming that police in China are shooting down people. And it was a 3 to 4 part video where in the first part of the video, you can see there's a police vehicle, and you can see people loading guns, and then you can see 3 policemen walking into an apartment complex, and eventually the next scene you see a woman on the sidewalk, and there's somebody apparently dead, and then the next thing you see 2 young men on the sidewalk. And these 4 clips were joined together to claim that the police that you saw in the first 2 clips have actually shot down these people because they were suspected to be COVID positive. What we found was that the latter 2 clips were actually old videos, had got nothing to do with COVID. They were one of the videos predated COVID, and another video was that of an accident where there was an accident and 2 people died. And all of these were put together to make it appear that police in China are shooting down people. So now in this case, what you do is you break down the video into multiple parts. You figure out where the video originates from. You use various techniques called reverse image search. A video is essentially a collection of frames. Every frame is an image. And what modern search engines allow you to do is that they index a lot of images and they allow you to look up against the images that you have indexed. So you take out certain frames, what are called as keyframes from video, and you search that using reverse image search. Google has a reverse image search. There's a Russian search engine called Yandex, which has a very good reverse image search function. And you use these tools to figure out whether these images or videos existed previously on the internet or not. If these are new images and videos, then you try to look at certain clues. For example, just today we have pushed an article where Union Minister Kiren Rijiju, Indian Union Minister, he posted a video of a woman apparently dying, and there's a person who's taking a video. He has a handheld camera and is taking a video, and it was being claimed that this person who was taking a video while this woman was dying and desperately asking for help is a journalist. And the union minister posted the video with a comment, "The soul of journalism is dead." We looked at the video very carefully, and what we found was that in the top right corner of the video, you can see a camera stand. Okay, and you can see a person who's actually asking people to do things, giving directions to people to do things. So this whole thing was part of a skit. It was a staged video, and somebody else was shooting this video from a different vantage point. But the cameraman who was actually shooting this entire thing was visible only for 2 seconds in one corner of the video. And if you don't look at the video carefully, you'll miss that. But that is what you need to do. That, the paradigm that what you see is what you believe. We cannot, that is the paradigm that we have grown up with, and that is not true anymore. What you see is not what you should always believe. And you have to look at things much more carefully. You have to look at all kinds of information with a very critical eye, using different tools. And more people need to learn how to use these tools to figure out whether the information that they are consuming is authentic or inauthentic.
Snehashis there. Kindly unmute. In times, what I want to ask you, in times when the media as watchdog has been undermined, what could provide alternatives?
Well, as Pratik has rightly explained, that how the concept through which we grew up, like what you seeing is believing, but which is not there, and the reverse image search that you also know much better, that these things are there and received. So better you check it and not to send it unless and until you are doubly sure. This is number one. And as against the question you have raised is as against the traditional media, mainstream media, it is the alternative media. And alternative media means that you do a lot of things on your own. Mobile journalism, you put your blog, you put your Facebook, you put your Instagram and all. Now, this alternative media means citizen journalism. Now, citizen journalism per se, we understand that does not have the basic requirements of checking and fact checking and cross checking. Whatever you feel like, you send it. So whoever sees it, believes or not, is up to the receiver. But what the professional journalists do, just to keep this credibility of the medium where he is working or she is working, we check, cross check, double check, recheck, whatever you call. But that rechecking is not mandatory, not required, and the principal concept and philosophy of citizen journalism. Citizen journalism is what is not given space in mainstream journalism. You and me feel that, okay, this needs to be circulated. We post it in our own Facebook, the followers see it, then it's reposted, Instagram, Twitter, and etc. It go on in geometric progression. But the thing is, I am not duty bound to check and cross check. I see something, I feel emotional, I feel attached, I feel engaged, and I think that I should. It's my duty as a citizen to resend it, to communicate it to so many people. So the citizen journalism is very good, and to great extent. Like, if you understand, Pratik will also vouch that in the recent past, whatever the accidents and incidents take place, there was no professional photographer or videographer. It was the citizen journalism through which we got the exact images of the happening accidents and incidents and events and whatever it is. So in a way it is good, but now I think every citizen has a responsibility. The duties and responsibilities of a citizen, like duties and responsibilities of a citizen journalist, that yes, I cannot do harm, make no harm. This is the basic principle of a human being should follow. So that means that you should not go on circulating which you are not very sure of. So whatever you get it thanks to WhatsApp University and Facebook, that we get lot of information, lot of ocean of information. We are flooded with information. But what is real and not real, unless and until we are sure, whether the mainstream journalists or the citizen journalists, we are not supposed to send it. But as you asked, the alternative media is the again is something different and something which are coming up as against the mainstream media, where a lot of things don't get space. But I must say that in alternative media also, one has to be very, very particular, whether you are a proper web page journalist or a blogger or a Facebook regular. So whatever you disseminate, please do not disseminate unless and until it satisfied your concern that it is good. So as against mainstream alternative media, but alternative media, there must be some rule of the road that you should not propagate what you don't find to be correct. Neil.
I think Reza Bhai is disconnected. I'm trying to connect him. I'm coming to Judith now. Judith, what is your overall assessment in this situation of pandemic? And also, in the light of infodemic?
Of course, I know more about the European situation, and I know about more about Central Europe, and we have the same problems as you have everywhere. This is a global issue. First of all, you talked about to behave responsible as a civil journalist or as a person who is sharing information. But the question is for me, what is with the outlets who are having professional journalists who are dealing with fake news in favor of the government, in favor of an institution, in favor of someone else? So that's the first one which appeared here in Hungary. We have since mid-March, or we had since mid-March, COVID situation, which is done in a way. We have quite good numbers, so it's not that critical in Hungary at all. We have now altogether 5,000 confirmed sicknesses and some 600 death cases. But Hungary doesn't test enough. This is not only my opinion, but the opinion altogether. And we have a very strange media landscape as well. Strange in the sense that we have a very strong influence from the government, and they are dealing and they are saying what to communicate in every sense. And it means that they had only online press conferences during the pandemic time, which meant that journalists had to send their questions, but they couldn't even ask questions after the questions were answered. That was one. And the other one was an enabling act, which helped as well the state to work again scaremongers, again so-called fake news, people who were spreading fake news in how the state have seen it. So it's quite the same situation, I think, with lower numbers.
It's 5 o'clock. Janab Naimat Khan Saab, what is the situation in Pakistan?
In Pakistan, the situation is same. I mean that the issue of that infodemic, which you call, there are fake news, and but since the media in Pakistan, that is censored media, and most of the issues that are very common issues, central issues that are overlooked or ignored or by the mainstream media. So the social media, the citizen journalism, that is some sort of establishment norm. I mean that the people believe on it. There are several major cases which were not put up by the mainstream media, but due to the social media, those cases were highlighted, and then even the social media, the mainstream media then followed those cases. So due to that case, many people, when there is fake information, the people start believing in it. That's the case overall, but in Pakistan case, most of the people believe on what is usually shared on social media, and we see that even yesterday, senior journalists they tweeted an old photo of the Pakistan Army chief with the Saudi Crown Prince as a recent photo. So that's the case of Pakistani media. We see regarding that specifically when we talk about that COVID-19, the social media have disseminated several fake news, and one of the news was that the people who go to the hospital, they are injected poisonous poison and they are killed, and the government then take millions of rupees against them. So that's so popular narrative on social media that even a political party leader, a leader of the Awami National Party, which is a Pashtun nationalist party, he mentioned that in his press conference. So we are faced with similar issue of the fake news, and especially with the COVID situation. That's a big challenge.
I am now coming to Reza Saab. Reza bhai,
Yes.
Bangladesh's কি অবস্থা? How you are dealing infodemics in Bangladesh?
Infodemics, as far as fake news is concerned, Bangladesh, I think, is a very fertile ground for fake news, particularly on the Facebook. And most of the cases, the information are mostly political as well as religious issues. You know, in some of the very far-flung areas in the remote areas of Bangladesh, some people saying a Hindu boy is doing this blasphemous to Islam, and then there can be a particular riot in this area. This is going on, or some people who are against the government or against the opposition, both sides, politically activists, they are using social media for fake news. I think there are three types of indifference I see as far as the fake news is concerned. One is the public indifference. Even people with strong academic background, they also tend to believe something appeared on the Facebook. There is indifference from the government. Government is particularly very active to contain the voice of the opposition or the independent journalists, but they are reluctant to some of the clerics, religious clerics, communal clerics, and also the indifference of the media. Media, in some of the cases, I think they are not strong enough to counter the propaganda going by the Facebookers or the social media users. So in Bangladesh, over the last few years, we are seeing fake news is strongly prevailing in Bangladesh, creating problem among the communities, particularly religious harmonies. Although there are strong resistance from the civil society to resist it, but the people are very active who want to create disturbance. And government has recently promulgated an ordinance, Digital Security Act, to contain, but it's only using against the opposition or independent voice of the media.
Babar bhai, the global media today is driven by biases, ideological links, geopolitics, and business interests. Some of the academics, they already started to say that the media, in the other words, fourth estate model is not now, it's not actually transformed into a propaganda model. US academics Noam Chomsky, Robert McChesney, and Edward Herman have been arguing for more than 2 decades that the fourth estate model of the media is dead, and what we have is a propaganda model that manufactures consent for conglomerates which own the media to serve their economic and political interests. And as a result, it works to spread the half-truths, disinformation, and alternative facts, so truth is a casualty. What is your opinion on this and the way forward?
Well, no, there's Source Hub and then Niamat Khan and Reza Sahab talk about the fake news. This is not a new phenomenon. We have the new thing, pandemic, the COVID pandemic, but the fake news exists before the pandemic, before the COVID pandemic. We have so many cases of that. Media is talking, political leadership is talking, international leaders are talking. But how we countering it is the newsroom, especially the people responsible in the newsroom. Do they take some different decision? Like, for example, if the TVs or the radios or the newspapers start a corner or a page, a fake news corner, uh, getting from the Facebook or any social media and putting in front of the people, telling them that these are the fake news, instead of on different platform verbally we are talking and we are against it. Of course, it's a new world with the new digital tools and with the new approach. Everybody got this $100 telephone in their hands. The internet is very cheap. Everything is going on in different part of the world. People can do anything with their phones and videos and anything, and they can put in front of the people with the different messages. But by talking against it, that's one thing. But how to encounter it? Till now, being a field journalist, I'm in the street, uh, but I didn't get anything from the newsroom. How we gonna encounter it? What's the editorial, board or the editorial, responsible people doing for it? I'm giving you one example. A few months ago, there was during the polio vaccination, a person put a video in eastern Pakistan, northeastern in Peshawar, that due to the vaccination, some kids died, and he got the video, put it on a social media, and these kids, he was keep telling them to act like is unconscious. It was a big news in Pakistan, and then it's become international news. That guy was arrested. He was being to the police station, and he gave another video that's I did on purpose, and that thing is gone. Reza Sahab talk about different bodies in different countries by they are responsible for these fake news. Like for example, in Pakistan, we have a PTA and PIMRA. They go after every TV channel if anchor say any one word, they're going after it, closing the TV channel. We didn't see cases that they're going after such people who are spreading the fake news. Behind the fake news, there are three ideologies exist. What I see, especially in Pakistan, which is mostly the religious people. They do it for religious purposes, uh, targeting different political figures, uh, talking about different international figures and countries. Then the political agenda with the internal politics. But when it comes to the pandemic, that's a very common issue. In a pandemic, what we see, all we journalists, I'm covering this COVID since the first day, since Wuhan till now. We are using the old words by when the government say, oh, we got this many cases, we say the Kuwait government organization in Pakistan say this. We don't use the word claim it, because that's not the all truth. Because these government organizations not telling you the truth. Not every people get tested. Not every people get to the hospital. Not every person, every infected person get the ventilator. The few days ago, I was working on a story from Peshawar, from here. The director of the hospital told me on a condition, as off the record, there's 50 bed in this hospital on the disposal of the health minister of the province. If even we getting a very serious people and they need ventilator, they are not giving it to them, to the deserving people. That empty beds there, we are not reporting on it. So first we have to change the usage of the word. We should have.
Actually, the connection of Babar Bhai has been disconnected. He will rejoin us soon. Uh, Actually, the first half of the discussion, uh, what we have seen, that there are so many biases and one-sided news uh, actually propagated from Majeed Bhai again joined.
Yeah.
Please continue.
I'm sorry for disconnection. So I was just making a point that we all professional journalists sitting here, we have to say to the government statements that they claim. We not say they say it. They claim it because it's not the full truth. In different cases, when I see the government data that's putting there, that's not accurate. Are we like in India? We have plus 1 billion people. Every state is going to test everyone. Every state or in Bangladesh or anywhere else. So the case is in this pandemic, the newsroom, the media it was not ready for it. Before, for 30 years, we talk about conflict, terrorism. So all the newsroom and the international media and local media run after it. That's the hot news. There is bomb blast that's ending up on the front page, or if any Taliban or any other thing that's ending up on the front page. Now we got pandemic. 30 years we spend on covering these. We are not ready. We journalists not ready to cover the pandemic in anywhere in the world. The international media, the international organization, the international outlet, and the local outlet, they don't have resources. The journalists are not trained how to go, how to talk, how to get the cases. We are just, all of us, we are rounding the figures. We are counting things. And we are believing it now. This my Patrick Sinha say that's in America 1,000 people dying every day. That's the government say it. It's more than that because it's scared people not coming to the hospital. In Pakistan, people not coming to the hospital anymore. If they got a fever, they stay at home. I did stories on that, and we scared people. We media people to use the government data and the government wordings to scare the common people. We didn't give them a hope. International bodies, health bodies changed their guideline for more than 4 or 5 times. And they were saying, oh, no, it's not like that. Wash the hands, then it's changed. Wear the mask, then it's changed. Then keep distancing, then it's changed. Pandemic is pandemic. We are not ready for it. So we journalists have to be, very, you know, equipped for. We have to be very smart and we have to be sensible by covering any of these news. Or if we calling the social media fake news itself, we are facing the fake news coming out from big mouths, and we are spreading it. We are not challenging because we're not ready. I don't know about COVID, how it is, and a lot of. We just heard the name. We just heard of how it works. We didn't get who. How many journalists get into the lab and to see that how many tests get conducted? What's the procedure of it? How many people get into the ICU to see itself? We talk about people say we don't have ventilators the with the data, not more than 3 or 4% ending up in ventilator. The other people, the thousands and millions and billions people need more awareness through media that we have to start it. We are putting the headlines on our international newspapers and TV. That many killed, that many infected, that many recovered. What's the other stories? Are we challenge the WHO? Did we challenge, the other international body? I don't see any journalists going to this because we are not, we don't know itself yet. So the training, the newsroom decisions, and the field worker, the field journalists, we all are helpless.
Uh, with this, actually, we are entering the second phase of our discussion. It's definitely after the emergence of COVID, all the sectors, and especially media, is shattered and facing a huge loss. But at the same time, other scope and opportunities are coming up, like in print. Obviously, circulation stopped, but e-editions are coming up. All the print, like Washington Post to Times of India in India, and even Undebated Patrika in the Bengali largest Bengali daily. All they are now investing in magazine, e-edition of their papers. Radio actually is in a transformation phase from a traditional radio to frequency modulated, customized radio organizations now. Digital boom, what we are seeing, that it actually upsurge like anything. But in television, picture is not bad as it is portrayed. I have some, you just want to put two slides before you. It's the Indian scenario. Television in India pre-COVID scenario. What is that? Television is giant in Indian entertainment industry. With 2.5 lakh employees, it caters 18.3 crore households. In 2019, viewers consumed 48.4 trillion minutes of television content from a choice of 850 plus channels on an average 3 hours and 46 minutes daily. In 2019, TV grossed over INR 714 billion, 9.9% of CAGR. TV advertising around INR 250 billion accounts for 36% of the country's advertising revenue. By 2024, television is projected to become INR 12-15 billion industry with 455 billion ad revenue. But in 2019, the industry has been seen many changes, and it was an eventful year. The CS regulation, the set-top box regulation, the lockdown, and now the new normal. CS households dropped from 19.7 crore to 18.3 crore. Total household in India is 29.8 crore. In the initial months of 2019, due to new tariff order, though subscription revenue rose to INR 463 billion, TV could not win back the household numbers. And then came 2020, and the lockdown changed everything. What is the scenario? Everything. TV reached, in the initial weeks of lockdown, TV reached 62.2 crore viewers from 56 crore. Daily viewing became 4.4 hour, 23% growth. People saw 22 channels per week. 3 hours plus viewership went up by 63%. Male viewership became for 60%. Overall viewership went up by 43%. 1266 billion minutes in second week of lockdown. Growth driven by Hindu-speaking markets amounts to nearly 49%. The Doordarshan's retelecast of classics in the first week of Ramayana, Mahabharata, Shaktiman actually created history, and the movie genre in national Hindi-speaking market and regional markets showed exceptional growth. News channels garnered maximum growth in advertisements, around 26%. So this is the scenario in brief. It's taken from the BARC data. Snehashis da. Then why all this propagated? The business is down, the owners and the corporates, they are just slashing their staffs on board and portraying a grim picture all over there. Even in last week, we have seen that one of the leading channels in Bengal, they have retrenched almost 8 staffs, and another 14 is in the pipeline. It is just informed. Why this? Cash is that.
Well, Neil, that's a very pertinent question you have raised. You have to go through. You have just shown us some of the slides, but if you go through the trend of the media and entertainment industry in India, especially, what is the growth rate? Growth rate is altogether. Growth rate is around 10%, 9%, 10%, which is much higher than the national growth rate of the country. CAGR is 10%, which is higher than the national growth rate of the economy as such in India. But if you go through it, the newspaper growth rate is around 4%, television growth rate is around 9%, and the digital growth is 30%, and gaming and all is more than that, 35%. So that means if you take the CAGRs one after the other, like the 18, 19, 19, 17, 18, 18, 19, 19, 20, you see a decline in print, in television, the market share, and film and in all other media. Radio remained almost static. The growth was only on the digital sector and the gaming sector. Overall situation is this, it's not expanding. But regarding the retrenchment and all, another thing, Neil, you have been there in television for a good number of years. You know, and you are in the management. So you are a professional performing as well as a manager managing. You had both roles. So you know both. And now the multitasking has become the mantra of the day, has become the main factor of the present situation. That firstly, you don't require a professional video editor. So you as a reporter or a desk person, you edit your own story. You are producer, a production assistant, or assistant producer. So you edit your own story. You lay your own voice. You edit your own story. You are a reporter. You have come back. Or you are a packager. So you do it your own. So you are a journalist, also doing visual editing like that. So video editor jobs are gone. Similarly, the typist jobs are also going. Everybody is filing their stories, through WhatsApp and all in the main typing. So it's no longer like in the print media. There was no compositor now. Obviously, everybody does on his or her own. So there are certain factors of multitasking, and you are doing it distance mode. Like you don't require. Suppose this would have been a proper television discussion, we would have had DSNG vans or OB vans in all these countries to manage to uplink. Now you get it through internet. So you don't require OB vans. You have your live view, you have your backpack, you have your smaller ones, and other now the modern cameras have interface with internet. So whatever you shoot is straight to a stream and brought into the newsroom. So lot of retrenchment in technological side, lot of retrenchment in the editorial or journalistic side, like Mojo. So you don't require a cameraman. You are a journalist, you are shooting, and Mojo is being telecast. Mobile journalism is being practiced by leading channels. So obviously, multitasking, technology being easily usable, you are getting rid of certain professionals like cameramen to some extent, video editors to some extent, typists to some extent, And voiceover artists, to some extent, only the anchors do the voiceover, all the reporters do the voiceovers, and the technology, bigger DSNG vans and all are now got rid of. You have smaller things like and Mojo, you can do it through mobile. Like these apps are, interface. It can be interfaced with television screen, and could be a TV show, could have been telecast by any of the ground channels or even satellite channels. So with this, you yourself are doing it from home. And a couple of years back, internationally, all these facilities and crores of rupees would have been, the billions of dollars would have been spent. So it is the trade, it is the industry which is going towards shrinking, and then the revenue is decreasing. Obviously, now the viewership, you have to think of a viewership. There are two major genres in television. One is entertainment, purely on entertainment, and another is news and current affairs genres. And many people, you must have heard saying that they are tired of watching COVID news, and they want to get rid of, and they are frightened to see all those numbers and the way the anchors are pronouncing that it's jumping, and it's which is really increasing day by day, and every day it's reached an all-time high or things like that. And in future there will be so much of so much more in numbers who will be affected and things like that. So people are getting afraid, getting frightened. So there may be a decline in news, or news cannot be canned. It always has to be live, and some channels are doing canned programs and they cannot run because they are operating in a lower scale. And obviously the entertainment, definitely initially the new entertainment could not be software could not be created. The shooting was not allowed for a couple of months. So obviously the entertainment viewership also gone down. That's why the retelecast of the epics, and that has brought back a lot of viewership again. So all these things are happening. So one is the lowering of readership, viewership is one side. Another side is lesser use of human resources and technology, because digitalization is a democratization. Everybody can do it. This is a great example of what can be done by one person from his home, which is an international telecast or a talk show. Only thing is we are not shouting against each other, and the rest, all sort of important information are being shared by professionals. And this could be, as I said, could be interfaced and telecast live. So you see, you yourself alone are doing what there are so many cameramen, so many sound recordists, so many vision mixer, so many digital satellite van engineers and cameramen, sound recordists in every place, and hiring of satellite and all these. So now things are changing. The entire platform is changing. So there will be lower economies of scale. There will be lower manpower used, and this pandemic has thrust all of us to do this. You might have not been very tech savvy for internet payments, internet banking. Now you have to resort to internet banking because you cannot go to the bank. Your purchase will not stop. So obviously you are thrust upon. So digitization will have a great leap forward. And this is the situation. That's why the retrenchment, lower operations of scale due to technology and due to multi-skilling. Nil.
Thank you, Snehashis. Reza bhai, what is the situation in Bangladesh, in the media industry, impact of COVID in Bangladesh?
The COVID has actually left various effects on the media sector in Bangladesh. First of all, as far as the COVID coverage is concerned, I will say Bangladesh media was very vibrant since the very beginning. They adjusted with the safety measures very quickly, as well as they countered the government propaganda very strong with strong voice. Most of the television channels, news channels, and the newspapers went for investigative story. The problems lying in the health sector, corruption, as well as irregularities. I will say people are very happy with the media coverage of the COVID situation in Bangladesh. And Bangladesh journalists proved their efficiency during this COVID scenario. What is the exact problem lying in the underlying in the health sector, as well as what is the prospect and the people, what kind of service actually people require from the health sector and the policy makers. Everything went very well throughout the media. And because of the media coverage, the Director General of the Health Service was changed. The Director of the Hospital Services was replaced. And because of the media coverage, some of the big private sector hospitals, which were making money in collaboration with the government people, they were arrested because of the media coverage. So Bangladesh media, I will say, during the COVID played very pertinent role in favor of the people. But at the same time, they suffered from the economic point of view. Newspapers, they suffered as shutdown and lockdown almost affected the billing and distribution of the newspapers. Television channels made huge, I will say, viewers, because people tend to see news during this lockdown period. And as the televisions were very innovative in coverage, people in general, they left entertainment and shifted towards news largely. So television news channels made, I will say, comparatively a better business during this time. However, overall economy suffered very badly. The projected growth rate for Bangladesh was 8.2, and you see the government estimate it has come down nearly 5%. So the private sector suffered very badly, and the advertisers, they reduced the advertisement towards the television. They reduced the rate also. They had cut the rate also of the advertisement in the television, and they reduced the advertisement in the newspapers also. And because of the COVID fear, the newspaper suffered in the circulation and distribution. And some of the newspapers closed down their print edition, went for e-edition, digital on the digital platform. Televisions also very active on the digital platform. There was a number of cases like job cut, salary cut. Recently, a very renowned English daily, which is seen one of the richest newspapers in Bangladesh, they went for cutting around 10% of their employees. In the television, we are facing different types of problems. As in most cases, we are doing interviews of the persons on internet. So some of the cameramen, some of the studio assistants, some of the production executives, they are now judged by the owners as not required for the media industry, for the new innovation. So I will say this is a very mixed scenario. Newspapers, televisions, they are doing very well as far as the coverage is concerned, and I will say very courageous coverage, very well thought coverage, and very objective coverage of the COVID scenario. And at the same time, we are facing revenue problems from the advertisers.
Janab Naimat, what is the situation in Pakistan?
Situation in Pakistan is a bit different, because before the COVID, we have seen that after coming into power, the Imran Khan government, they stopped government advertisement. And in Pakistan, it's not a huge country. It has no, there's not business activities like, we don't have an economy like India, and even we are below Bangladesh. So we don't have that much ad revenue from private sector. The government sector was one of the important part which was adding to the media. So before the COVID, the government had already cut the advertisement, and we have been experiencing a very bad time for media workers. Even the established group like Dawn, which is one of the ideal media group, they had to cut 40% salaries of the staff, and they gave two options to the media workers to either go for downsizing or cut the salary. There were layoffs in almost in every media groups. Even today, there are groups who haven't paid their the journalist salaries for the last eight months, and even more than 12 months a year. So we were experiencing that situation, and then came the COVID, which further deteriorated condition of the economy. So the journalists were posts, and then there was another aspect to it. Since there were already layoffs, the journalists were already facing a sort of the layoff and pay cuts. So they were forced. Even the pandemic, we saw that. I have been working for an international organization, and that was very good. That I have been reporting. I was a correspondent for Sindh Balochistan, but I had been reporting from my hometown in Mardan. They allowed me. But for the local media, the journalists are forced to work to go to the office. That no COVID conditions were applied. And the journalists were compelled because they were already, scared of the situation, and further that could endanger their jobs. Uh, One journalist, one cameraman who was covering the attack on the Karachi Stock Exchange, he got a call. That's an example that your test was your sample was taken 8 days ago, a week ago, and then now you have been tested positive. So after even though he had symptoms, he was asked to do his work, and he was in the field. One news channel, I won't name it, they called their positive staff, their COVID positive staff, to join the duties because they were short of the men. I tweeted that, and then the channel management, some people, they contacted me and said that they have resolved the issue. So delete your tweet. I deleted that tweet because there was some friend between. But that was actually the situation. We have 6 to 7 deaths, and according to the test result, hundreds of the journalists have tested positive. But there was no such, a sort of relief for them, just because of this economic condition, the media condition, which were further deteriorated by the COVID. Yeah.
Judit, what is the situation in Hungary?
After the lockdown, it changed a lot because a lot of streaming services for free were available, and it meant people informed themselves and had infotainment and entertainment from these services, first of all. In Hungary, the print media was not that much, or didn't had to suffer that much. But though that, there was a decrease of advertisement incomes. It means that they had less than 30% what they got in for their outlets. And they started to make advertisement for e-papers, for e-services, and so on. This is going on. This is very strong now. And what happened was that they started a lot of crowdfunding. So they don't have enough money to serve all of the different parts of their services. So that was going on. And on the other side, I already mentioned that to get informations was very one-sided because the state controlled everything, and they had the knowledge and they didn't share it really properly with lots of media outlets, and that's how it is still.
Babar bhai, a quick take on this.
Well, I see the three era of media. I'm talking about the 90s when the computer came. And people will say, oh, all these people working in the newsroom by handwriting, we call it katib. And we gave them, they were writing on hand. England newspaper was on typewriting. People say, oh, these people will go where? Then there was a strategy that they put them on training, how to write on computer, and then they put in the newsroom. Then we saw another era of television. Then coming in the 2000 before, and then we say, oh, it will hit the print media. And it's the TV has sensational news and things. And that's why. Then, when I went to the US, and the US during 2003 and 4, the Christian Science Monitor, a very big newspaper, got offline, and they say we will be now doing internet. Then the New York Times cut so many people. By all these saying, we calling a media industry, that's an industry, but we run not running it as industry. We are lacking of strategic planning inside the media organization. We lack of a different approach how to uh, raise funds for the same thing on different so basically everybody calling it a media industry, but we are lacking on our side on the media organization, that's we are not going on to different other venues. Naimat Khan talk about the journalist, that those working in Pakistani media. The It's long since decades the government is indirectly controlling the print and electronic media by giving them the advertisement. That advertisement is political tool for different political organization, political and establishment, how to curb, how to how to shut down, how to silence different media. It's happened with the Jung group, with the Dawn group, when the establishment want to shut them down. So this is a problem. But at the same time, when Mr. Sinha, he was talking about the digitization, and that's there. We cannot run from it. We have to face it. Citizen journalism, people, all these people, they're doing it. But the professional journalists, they have to survive, get the story, and done it. Yes, we have problem. We have problem in the newsroom. We have problem in other stuff. Now, there was one point that say before we have to have a crew of 5 or 3 people to go to the field. One would be recording, the other one be journalist, the third one will be editor, and all this stuff. Yes, now you can do all three, but who is watching you? Where is the four-eye confirmation of the news within this process? So we losing the trust too. I'm asking myself, if I was alone doing a story, I don't have my sound man, I don't have my videographer, I don't have my editor with me on the field, might I will do some other thing, might I will manipulate, might I will create, might I will fake things, might I will stage things. So on the newsroom side, when you cutting the cost, basically you cutting the credibility of the news too. So yes, we are good. We say, okay, I can edit, I can write, and I can present, but this only me, and that's why it's losing the trust. That news will be less trustworthy if that news will be covered by a group of journalists.
Now we are almost at the end of the show. Just a final take from all of you. Actually, Reza Bhai and Pratik, they have another assignment, so they have already left. But just 10 minutes, we will going to end the show. But before that, I want to take final words from you. What are the scope and opportunities you are seeing in coming future, and what is the way forward? Snehashis,
Yes.
Kindly unmute. Snehashis.
Sorry. Uh, you see, journalists have covered all kinds of incidents, all kinds of natural disasters, all kinds of calamities, all kinds of exigencies. But this is something which they have not covered before. So obviously there were challenges from safety side, challenges from infodemic side, challenges as Babar Bhai has rightly said, the CDC and the ICMR for India and WHO, they have been changing their views, almost every week or every fortnight. So we had to communicate to people. So in turn, we lose our credibility. So there were challenges with working with lesser kind of people, challenges where the newspaper circulation has been brought to almost zero. 3-4 days, the city of Kolkata where we are, where there were at least 4-5 days, there were no newspaper circulation. Till so many people have switched over to digital. Now digital have been paid, and there are some people who are sending free WhatsApp PDF papers, and so entire economy has changed. For the entire business of news has been changed. So there are challenges and opportunities. Is, you see, the remote recording like this, digitization, and you evolve that you can do so many things. I know a radio station in Kolkata which had to be closed. The newsroom had to be closed because 2 people were found positive. So all these people had to work from home. They scripted, they took the sound bites, and the anchor read it and put them together into the bites together, and then sent it to the server, and somebody was playing from the studio. So this distant recording, digitized version, everything possible. But we have to think of the digital divide, that what kind of broadband connectivity we have. So definitely this has posed a real threat, real challenge, but we have also come out with a lot of opportunities. And it is the state's duty to make bandwidth available in a cheaper cost, or for the students free of cost, so that people can access access digitally sent materials. And another thing I must say, that in India, the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, through the Press Information Bureau, which is the apex organization looking after catering information to the media, they have created a fake news checking mechanism. And anything coming out of government in any form, you can send it to them. There is a set of people 24/7. They will go back to the respective ministries and departments and get it clarified and give you back. So there are a lot of fake things are being spread across. So, but there is, at least as far as the government is concerned, there is an agency, Government of India agency, which actually vouches or makes it credible, the right or wrong. And there are other means, like Pratik has said, that you can actually cross check and reverse visual checking and all. So infodemic and fake news is going to be there, and the journalists need to be trained first to cross check whether it is correct or not. There should be inbuilt training and practice. So there will be some people who will be going through, like spelling corrector, or like construction correction or something. They will go on checking information correction. So much of information has also come. That is why it is said infodemic by WHO and in various governments also. But yes, we require independent media, private media to speak about, as we have heard about Bangladesh, that our friend has said that they have created law, uproar, so that now I talk about Reza and Reza is back. So yes, Reza has said that they are there so that in one-sided information cannot be percolated. So a proper watchdog role can be played, but at the same time, the industry is shrinking, advertisement is shrinking. So it is almost a new business model one needs to evolve. There are job cards, there are organizations being folded up, going more digital, like what you and me are doing right now. So these can go in Facebook, people can watch it later. So all those things are there. So it's a challenge and opportunity both. Thank you, Neil, for giving me this opportunity. If you kindly allow, may I leave this session, if you allow me.
Definitely.
Thank you.
We are almost about to end, but quick take from Naimat Khan. What is the way forward?
Yeah, the way forward is, as Sana said in the end, that with every challenge there is an opportunity. When you are, I mean, that facing no challenge, you are in ease, and you take it everything. I mean, very easy. But when there are the challenges that make you more cautious, you do more effort, you think creatively. For example, there are two things which have become challenging for it. The advent of the digital media. So I didn't need I mean a camera or a tripod or things like that. When I would be reporting for the Frontier Post, I just need to type my news. Now I have to learn these things, and I'm effectively learning it. The second challenge is that of the social media. The social media that basically a challenge, but that can be a yeah.
Judit?
So that basically
Yes, yes.
yeah. So that's basically an opportunity.
So there is
Yes,
disturbance.
please continue.
I did a story. Yeah, I did a story recently. There's a shortage of time, but I did a story recently. That I saw a photo from Balochistan, which was captioned that this is the property of Hindus who left Pakistan in 1947, and the locals have kept these shop as it is, even after the passage of 73 or 74 years. So I got that hand from that social media. Then the social media helped me to contact the local in Mehtar. I use my on ground contact as well, but the social media contacts also help. Then I went to the India, to the Jaipur, where the Hindus had migrated. I connected with them as well on social media, through social media. So there was a, I mean that was a story for which I got very good feedback, and that could happen due to social media, due to Twitter, due to Facebook. These Facebook and Twitter, they have become a challenges for us, and we are facing them as a challenge, but we can use them as well. If you don't have, we have I mean that job threats, we can adopt more creative ways to produce more interesting news. So that is it.
Judith, a quick take. What will be the way forward?
A last very short remark. We were talking about educating journalists and educating people who are civil citizen journalists. I would say we have to educate people. We have to educate pupils. We have to educate children in the schools to give them more media competencies, because they don't understand texts, they can't read properly and understand what they are reading, and they have to learn how to deal with media, how to consume media. And on the other side, the media has to approach as well the young generations and approach them and find an access to them, because they are the future. So I am for education in every sense. Thank you.
Babar bhai, final take.
Yeah, well, the training, yes, training very important. But at the same time, I'm telling you, like the landscape, the media landscape is changing. We are getting so many tools now. A one person can get one iPhone 11 and go do everything what he want in the field. You don't have a lot. So we got so many good tools. We got social media. But at the same time, we have to change the approach. The newsroom have to change the approach. The editorial board have to change the approach, and the journalists too. And for that reason, reaching out to the fact, it has different meanings. A lot of journalists got lazy sitting in their drawing rooms doing stories. Field work, leg work is less now these days.
হ্যালো বাবার ভাই ডিসকানেক্টেড। রেজা ভাই, আপনি কি আছেন লাইনে? রেজা ভাই শুনতে পাচ্ছেন? I think he is not connected. I am not getting his audio. Babar bhai, continue. Babar.
So the main thing is like training and changing the approach, right? These days we are doing, the old type of journalism and the old, yes, we are crying, we are shouting, we are saying digital media came, media industry got affected, people lose jobs, everything. But conducting the news, reaching out to the news, getting out the fact, it's have to be changed, and we have to use all these tools and go, and especially the newsroom and the editorial and especially the media owners need training too. How to spread their resources among the journalists, how to spread resources among the newsroom, and to get the fact.
Thank you all. We are almost 1 hour and 26 minutes. We have a discussion here. You are all busy person. Babar bhai, Judit, Naimat Khan Saab, and all those who have participated in today's show. With that positive note, we are ending today's discussion. Thank you. Thanks for joining me tonight. I hope in future we will definitely meet each other and had another session on the other subject. Thank you very much. প্রিয় বন্ধুরা, আজকের আলোচনা এখানেই শেষ। আগামী দিন আবার দেখা হবে কোনো নতুন বিষয় নিয়ে, ঠিক রাত 8টায় সামনের বুধবার। ততক্ষণ সঙ্গে থাকুন। আপনারা যারা আজকের এই আলোচনা শুনলেন, আপনারা আপনাদের বন্ধুদের শেয়ার করতে পারেন। আমাদের ইউটিউব লিংক আমাদের স্ক্রিনের মধ্যে রয়েছে, আপনারা শেয়ার করুন যাতে আরো বেশি মানুষের কাছে আমরা পৌঁছতে পারি। শুভরাত্রি। গুড নাইট টু ইউ অল।